I don't know what else to say except for this. We are living on the stupidest timeline. Remember back in the day, and I'm going to age myself. Remember the show Quantum Leap? He would jump around into different eras and years and you would see how far we've come and or like where we're headed. It's like we've jumped into the stupidest timeline with all of the technology, all of the ability to move us forward. But it's like, nah, everyone said, let's go backwards instead. That is exactly how I feel. We have quantum leaped into fuckery. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show, dear friends. It is wonderful to be back live with you today. There is so much news to cover, so let's just get into it, shall we? Welcome, damnation. Let's go. So I don't know about you all, but I do my best to take a break over the weekends, which means that I don't spend morning, noon, and night looking at the news, which makes Mondays that much harder to deal with. But I do it because my spirit needs a break. Evidently, Donald Trump does not feel that way at all. But when you are the cause of the chaos, when, as the kid said, am I the drama? Yes, Donald Trump, you are the drama and you fucking feed off of it and you love it. Who needs sleep when you can be up at 10 o'clock on a Saturday just sharing the most unhinged, radical bullshit ever? That's Donald Trump. That's what he did on Saturday night. Trump spreads bizarre conspiracy theory that Biden, I shit you not, was executed and replaced by a robot clone. Democrats don't know the difference, claimed a Truth Social post that the president of the United States shared. So in Rolling Stone, they write this. This is not the first conspiracy theory Trump has dabbled in, although it may be one of the weirdest. Trump has relentlessly and falsely claimed the 2020 election was rigged. He alleged that former President Barack Obama was not born in the United States. If you all remember, let that be the throwback, right? That should have been a disqualifier. But no, it was his ticket in to the political arena, not his undoing. And he has said the physical attack against Paul Pelosi, husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was staged. Do you mean like his alleged assassination that we never found out any details about, never got any medical report on? Like we just took Donald Trump's word for it and his entire team, and we just kept it running. Meanwhile, when you look at it now, with the fake blood smear and the fist up in the air, it looks worse than a WWE event. And of course, because that's who his entire cabinet is filled with. But no one asked really any follow-up questions. We all just kind of let it go. During the 2024 campaign, Trump and Vance repeated fabricated claims that Haitian immigrants were what? Eating the cats, eating the dogs. And then what did mainstream media do? In the interim, they repeated all of the shit that he says. This is why I say that Donald Trump really, truly does own the media. because he can say some of the stupidest things, some of the most unhinged, crazy shit. And then the media will say, well, the president said it, so we have to report it. It must be news. Actually, you can report it, but not in the way that the news has been reporting this story. So Rolling Stone kind of got it right with their post, right? Let's take another look at their title. Trump spreads bizarre conspiracy theory. Okay. It doesn't seem too bad. Now, let's take a look at the New York Times. Trump amplifies another outlandish conspiracy theory. Biden is a robotic clone. Now, these are outlandish and they are unhinged. But the fact is that I don't hear any of mainstream news talking about this, which happened on Saturday at 10 p.m., in the same way that they went after Biden, his age, and all of his stumbling. Like, to me, is this not a sign of like something coming loose? Is this not a sign of like derangement, delusion from a 79-year-old man? Because they're reporting on this and saying, well, this is what Trump does. You know, he does conspiracy theories. Yeah, except you're not just somebody's weird uncle in a home. You're the president of the United States. And the fact that you continue this level of lying and these outlandish, unhinged, deranged claims should be called that and should be investigated, not on whether or not Biden is a fucking robot clone or whether or not Donald Trump is all there. Because, I don't know, let's take a look at the facts just over the last 5 months at this point. Donald Trump has fallen asleep in public at a cabinet meeting and at Pope Francis's funeral. Okay? Donald Trump goes off on weird tangents that make absolutely no sense. Donald Trump sat, as a matter of fact, in the meeting in the Oval Office next to the president of South Africa. Trump claimed that white South African farmers are victims of mass killings and displayed an image intended to back up his assertion. The image was actually of a conflict in Eastern Congo. Trump has falsely asserted that white South Africans are victims of genocide, even though police statistics, the president of that country, show that white people in the nation are not any more vulnerable than any other group. Donald Trump has also become buddy-buddy and pals with some of the world's aspiring dictators, laughing it up, chucking it up with them. None of this is causing the same rounds of headlines that Joe Biden was plagued with his entire administration. And I know this little game is old, but imagine if it had been Biden who reposted conspiracy theories about Donald Trump. Imagine had it been Obama. So why is it that no one is asking for Donald Trump's latest medical records and questioning out loud whether or not the president of the United States is all there? Because it doesn't seem like he is to me. And what's more dangerous about this is that other people listen to this man and believe the things that are coming out of his mouth. So much so, they're willing to kill on his behalf. They're willing to put their lives on the line. There was a conspiracy theory that was floated up by Republicans about a pizza place in Washington, D.C. Remember? That was running a pedophile ring out of the basement, except this place had absolutely no basement. And none of the claims that were made were true. But that didn't stop an attacker with a gun going in there and killing people, did it? That was just one of the many things that MAGA Republicans amplified. All of the hate that was pointed at Nancy Pelosi didn't stop a madman from going in, breaking into her house with a hammer and nearly killing her 80-something-year-old husband. So what comes out of the MAGA sphere, this alternate universe that they have created, isn't just something to be laughed off or shrugged off, because guess what? Someone somewhere takes it into account and takes it upon themselves to do God knows whatever on behalf of Donald Trump. So I don't want folks to look at this and be like, oh, this is just another crazy thing. This man has his finger on the nuclear codes. And we don't know if he is all there. And so what I would love is the same type of relentless reporting that was done on Biden's age and his stumbling and this, that, and the other thing to be done on this man. But we all know that that's never going to happen. Meanwhile, Joni Ernst. Did you guys see this story? Senator Joni Ernst, Iowa, at a town hall where her constituents are outraged and outdone with Donald Trump's bullshit budget bill that is going to gut Medicaid and Medicare, SNAP, clean water initiatives, clean energy initiatives, roll back all sorts of things. Show up to her town hall and say, people are going to die if you move forward with this legislation. Joni Ernst's response? Well, we all are going to die. Honestly, she's up for re-election in 2026. She clearly does not give a fuck, but she knows that her job is not in jeopardy. And the fact is that when people were outraged by her response, this disgusting excuse for a human being doubled down on it and doubled down on it, friends. Here, I have to play you this video, and, you watch it.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
There is a word that I won't use because I have class. So I'm not going to say that word, but that is what she is. She is a despicable excuse for a human being. 8.6 million Americans are at risk of losing their health care. This is not an act of fucking God. It is an act of evil depravity on the side of greedy, disgusting Republicans who are taking health insurance and food out of the mouths of the most vulnerable in this country so that they can give tax breaks to the insatiable, fucking greedy rich. This bitch, which is exactly what she is, walks through a graveyard and uses that as some type of photo op for herself to think that she is going to use some carnival tricks in the same way that Donald Trump does. Oh, MAGAs never apologize. They just double down, and she thinks that what works for Donald Trump will work for her. And I'm going to say to the people of Iowa, you actually deserve better. You deserve a senator who actually, you know what, maybe even pretends to fucking care about you, but not mock your fear, not mock your sadness, not make a joke of the fact that people are going to die, and not because of some act of fucking God, but because they're not going to have health insurance to be able to go to a doctor, to be able to be diagnosed and receive the kind of treatment and medications that they need. Also, Elon Musk can send more rockets up into the air and blow them to bits. Also, that Jeff Bezos can buy another polluting yacht and sail around the world with his trad wife trash of a wife. These people are trash. And they should not be allowed to walk around comfortably anywhere without being heckled, without being protested. She is garbage. I was so disgusted by that fucking video and people calling it an apology when she was doing it to mock the very people that put her ass in power. And oh, by the way, pay for her top-notch health care that she's taking away from 8 million plus people. So, folks, you remember that. And I hope that whatever Democrat that actually has a spine and has a strategy and a plan uses her mocking as a campaign slogan. Just a piece of fucking garbage. Speaking of which, only the best people, right? So it's being reported, allegedly, that Elon Musk is a drug addict. I don't know what else you would call a man who gets on stage in an indoor event with dark black sunglasses on, swinging a, I don't know, chainsaw above his head to wild applause from the audience. I don't know what you would say about a man that sits inside at a cabinet briefing in which you're not a member of the cabinet, with dark sunglasses on and your, jaw moving in a really interesting circular manner. But you know what? I wouldn't give a damn if Elon Musk was a drug addict or not. I could give a fuck. But I happen to care about the fact that he has been given all the power in the world to fire hundreds of thousands of federal employees, take our data and tax information, and just reroute it with his little incel babies right into his bank account or wherever the hell our tax dollars are going, because they sure as hell are not going to infrastructure or clean water or public schools anymore. But this is what the New York Times is reporting, that Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills. It's not medication because I'm certain that no one prescribed them to him. But again, these are the words that we use when we're talking about a wealthy, white, cis, hetero man. If he were anybody else, he'd be in jail. Because that's what we do to people that are addicts in this country that happen to be black or brown. You get jail sentences. You don't get treatment. And you sure as fuck don't get to be labeled as a genius. Talk to me about anybody else who would still be able to be labeled as a genius and talk about all the things that they're doing for America and this country if in fact they were an addict, if they didn't look like Elon Musk. I'm so tired of this shit. I have to tell you that today, this Monday, I've had it up to here. Because this country is being run by a bunch of fucking idiots on drugs. And 77 million Americans voted for that willingly, with all the information at their fingertips. And that's how you know that racism and misogyny are America's two original sins. Because you know who Elon Musk has been. You know that he paid $290 million to buy the presidency. You know who Donald Trump was because you went through his administration the first fucking time around. So none of this is a surprise. None of this is a shock. Elon Musk has been all over right-wing, bro-oligarchy fucking podcasts talking about his drug use. Hailed as like, oh yeah, that's what alpha men do. Yeah, they use fucking diapers because they're addicts and they fucked up their bladders. Like, in what world is any of this acceptable? So here's the headline from the New York Times on the campaign trail. Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. But only in America can you do that as a white man and be fucking celebrated. I just, and then to cover their own asses, the New York Times says, well, it's unclear whether Musk 53 was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House. Folks, can we stop with the bullshit? If you're taking enough drugs for your bladder not to work normally, let's just say you've lost focus of like the party drug vibes at that fucking point. That you're no longer taking it to, hang out and see cool shit. That you're taking it because you can't deal with reality. So you think that Elon Musk had enough hold over himself to not be taking drugs as he is going through our personal data and selling it and sending it to God knows who? What makes me so angry is that they have taken the most prestigious job in this country, one of the most applauded government structures in the world, and turned it into a fucking reality TV show that isn't even like a quality one. America is trash because of what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of their followers decided to do to it. Because this is what white lash looks like. This is what happens in America when a black man became president of the United States. They lost their goddamn mind. And so they picked the worst of the whites just to prove that white people can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And now the rest of not only this country, but the world will suffer the consequences. Because the desire to hold on to whiteness, to hold on to this concept that was created of racism to categorize and put people into castes and put people into their places, that was more important to them than healthcare, that was more important to them than public education. This coming from the same people, the same bloodline that would have rather drained the pools in their own neighborhood and stop themselves and their children from swimming rather than integrate swimming pools and public spaces. You want to know how America gets here? It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen just because Donald Trump became president of the United States. America's addiction to racism and misogyny is what allowed for Donald Trump to become president of the United States, not once, but twice. So you want to talk about addicts? Talk about the sickness and the compulsion of racism that had 77 million people say, no, we want the fucking clown car, as opposed to the Black and Indian woman and the folksy white guy who wanted to make sure that your kids drank clean water and went to schools that allowed them to build a life and success and achieve some portion of the American dream, that wanted to give those that wanted higher education some relief with student loan debt relief so that you had choices that you can make. And white Americans said, nah, we'll go with the one that fucks porn stars, that evangelicals pray over. That's how I know that their God is nothing more than a clown. Because if you are praying over Donald Trump as your savior, your understanding, your relationship to a higher power needs to be examined, needs to be unpacked. Because you don't have a relationship to a higher power, you have a relationship to power. Ugh. Outdone. Speaking of outdone, well, Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States, has now said that the Bar Association can no longer vet Donald Trump's judicial nominees. And why is that? Oh, because, they're going to tell the American people about how unqualified the people are that Donald Trump is picking to put up on the bench. And Pam Bondi doesn't like that. She's called them activists, an activist organization. So according to the Huffington Post, Attorney General Pam Bondi last week informed American Bar Association that she is cutting off its access to non-public information about Trump's judicial nominees. Why? Because they come from the inside of somebody's Cracker Jack box. Quote, unfortunately, the ABA no longer functions as a fair arbiter of nominees' qualifications, and its ratings invariably and demonstrably favor nominees put forth by Democrats. Oh, maybe because Democrats choose people with what, law degrees? And who didn't just write papers about things that Donald Trump will like? Y'all. And then you say to yourself, well, Danielle, while Donald Trump is, sharing conspiracy theories at 10 p.m. on a Saturday, while, Pam Bondi is cutting off access to the American Bar Association, while Elon Musk is popping ketamine at cabinet meetings, while all of this is happening and they're getting ready to, gut this entire country and sell it for parts, also that the rich could get richer. What else is happening that we could be getting distracted with all of these other things that are going on? Maybe this. Homeland Security cops invade New York Congressman's office, handcuff aide. The administration is clearly trying to intimidate Democrats in the same way that they're trying to intimidate the country. That's Jerry Nadler. He is a New York congressman, a long-time New York congressman at that. The incident, first reported by the New York City news site Gothamist, occurred Wednesday after DHS agents accused staffers of, quote, harboring rioters in their offices, which is located in the same building as a federal immigration house. A partial video of the incident obtained by the Gothamist shows one officer handcuffing a crying woman while another Nadler staffer demands that agents provide a warrant before entering. We talked about this last week when the charges against Ras Baraka, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, who was also arrested by ICE police officers, the charges against him were dropped while they amped up charges against another congressperson. And now Homeland Security is bum rushing into congressional offices and arresting staff. So again, for those stupid people who said, oh, Donald Trump is only going to go after the illegals, he's only going to go after the ones that were here in a bad way, not those of us that are legal residents or U.S. citizens or green card holders or you name it. This is what fascists do. Why? Because if Donald Trump can bum rush in with Homeland Security officers into a congressional office, then guess what's not safe? Any of us and your fucking homes, your place of work, your children's school. We no longer have amnesty or asylum areas that used to be schools and hospitals and churches. No, not anymore. Now, free to go anywhere. Nadler said, this is what fascism looks like. No, this is not what it looks like. This is what fascism is. Period. That story goes on. The confrontation comes amid news reports that ICE has been arresting undocumented immigrants as they leave courthouses around the country. Remember the judge in Wisconsin who is arrested and indicted and is now on leave from her job while she goes up against charges, federal charges of harboring and evading ICE agents. This is to show you that they are literally coming for all of us. No one is safe. And that is the point. You go after these big fish to quiet all the little ones, to stop you from organizing, to stop you from speaking out, to make you so concerned about your little life and your small piece of the universe that you forget that our power comes from community and the collective. These are shots fired out across the country to have us all go running scared. Because if they can come for a congressman and they can come for a federal judge, they can come for you. And that's why it is imperative, now more than ever, to speak out. Because you will never have more power or a bigger voice than you do right now. And then, finally, and folks, this is only but part of the news, okay? This is only but part of the things that dropped today. If you watched Democracy-ish, which is up right now, you would have learned about the fact that Donald Trump, according to Tulsi Gabbard, doesn't read, which we all know. But Tulsi Gabbard is now looking for a different way for Donald Trump to ingest the news because he's clearly a fucking toddler, which is to turn his presidential briefings that, every other president would get in a binder and read. Tulsi Gabbard wants to turn them into well-produced Fox News shows with Fox News personalities in the hopes that that will get through to Donald Trump. President or toddler? I guess two things can be true at the same time. And, and it's funny because you can't even be mad really at Tulsi Gabbard, even though, she's unqualified, shouldn't have the job that she has as a national intelligence advisor. One would need to have intelligence and maybe not allegedly be a Russian plant. But, what do I know? But I do know that the people that are running this country are either hopped up on drugs, fallen asleep at the wheel, and need to be spoon-fed fucking information because they don't have the intellect and the ability to absorb it in the ways that, I don't know, the past 40 some odd presidents have. It would be funny if it were a television show. This is our life. This is what people voted for. America is in the midst of not only a brain drain, as you have academics fleeing the country, you have students who would normally come here for exceptional educations and then build companies and innovate and what have you. Their visas are being revoked and they're heading elsewhere. Because why would you come here? Under the threat of being detained? But that's not it. That's not all who's not showing up. The U.S. economy is set to lose $12.5 billion this year in international traveler spend. The World Travel and Tourism Council, the global body representing the travel and tourism private sector, announced last month its latest economic impact research, which found that the U.S. is on track to lose a staggering $12.5 billion in international visitor spending this year. Notably, international visitor spending to the U.S. is projected to fall to just under $169 billion this year, down $181 billion in 2024. The significant shortfall represents a 22.5% decline compared to the previous peak. The loss won't be felt by travel and tourism alone, with the WTTC saying it represents a direct blow to the U.S. economy overall, impacting communities, jobs, and businesses from coast to coast. According to the study, the U.S., the largest travel and tourism sector in the world, is the only country among 184 economies analyzed to forecast this type of decline in 2025. Folks, it is only going to get worse. Donald Trump has only been in office for 5 months. The damage that has been done, some say, is going to take generations to fix. We're only 5 months in. And there's already generational damage that was done. So can you imagine a year, 2, 3, 4? I can't. I really cannot see where we are 4 years from now. It's really, really terrifying. And I apologize because, I was scouring for good news, but there was just too much of this shit to cover and too many things that are falling through the cracks. While mainstream media is focused on Trump's conspiracy theories, meanwhile, tens of thousands of people are dying because USAID has been gutted. There is an orchestrated famine happening in Gaza that is killing millions of people. No aid can get in. All the hospitals, schools, everything is gone. And we all just keep churning along like shit is normal. Today is one of those days, folks, where I'm just like, wow. I have to take a deep breath, reset, because God only knows what the rest of this week will hold. Just know we continue to be in this together. We continue to show up here. We continue to make ourselves aware of what is going on, continue to share, continue to post. Because we have got to make it to the other side of this. We have got to start not just reacting to the world that this man, this maniac is pulling us into this alternate universe. We can't just live our lives in reaction. We have to get to a place where we can start imagining what we want post Donald Trump, because at some point, he and they will be gone. And what we do now, what we do in this moment, matters. So I know that it is hard to keep your head on a swivel. I know that some days are just easier than other days. And when you are met with the hard day, deep breaths, meditation, fur babies, plant babies, walk, yoga, work out, connect with people, do something that lifts you up. Because there is too much that is being built and done right now to literally press us down. And the thing is, you can't fight with no energy. You can't dream when you're depleted. And that is honestly the point. It is the depletion. It is the misery. It is to make us believe that this is it and there's nothing else that we can do. Remind yourselves there is always something we can do. It's Pride Month. Whether you are queer like me or an ally, Pride was started as a riot because people were tired. Black trans women were tired of being bullied by police. They were tired of being pushed around. They were tired of being disrespected and beaten up. And so one day They just said, we've had a fucking enough. And that was at Stonewall. 1968, if I'm correct. Late 1960s, we'll say that, 68 or 69. And they fought back. And from there on, said, you know, we ain't living in this closet anymore. We ain't gonna embody this shame that they are trying to put on us. We are going to live out loud and proud and build community and fight fucking back because we deserve to be here. So we can do it. We can fight back. Because in 1968 at Stonewall, they weren't thinking about marriage equality. They weren't thinking about what the Supreme Court would do decades upon decades later. They were thinking about the right fucking now, that they'd had enough. We have got to get to a place where we all collectively say, it's enough. We're done. The fascists, the white nationalists, the bigots, the transphobes, the Islamophobes, the anti-Semites, the racists, they are not going to define who we are. We get to do that. That is it for me today, dear friends, on the Danielle Moodie Show. I want to thank each and every single one of you for your fantastic donations. Kristen, appreciate you. K-Dub, appreciate you. Barb, appreciate you. Celeria, maybe I got that right. Appreciate you. Catherine, appreciate you. Thank you so very much. As you all know, this is independent media, and every single dollar counts and goes far into helping me be able to create the type of content that you all deserve, and the truth that you all deserve, and the encouragement that you all deserve. So I want to thank each and every single one of you. We are but 800 subscribers away from 25,000. We hit 24,000 last week. And I just want to thank all of you for all of the likes, the subscribes, the shares, the posts on social media. Continue to do so. And we will get there. We are like the little train that could. And all of you are helping to push this show and this channel uphill. So I just want to say appreciate you. And I will see you back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, live. In the meantime, check out some really good videos that I have up right now. One with my friend Jared Yates Sexton, that when we talk about our mental health on Substack every Wednesday live, I posted our last week's video up that is up right now. As well as Democracy-ish, which was live at 12 p.m. is up right now, as well as one of my very short rants because I just had enough today. Take care of yourselves. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane. And in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Be well. And if you haven't hit that bell and hit subscribe, do so. It's free.